Well, that was unexpected. All right, everyone. So I don't think a lot of people were expecting this because it literally came out of nowhere. And let's talk about it. All right, everyone. So coming off XO18, Microsoft was in a really strange position because the way people took XO18, they either really liked it or they just thought it was flat. Personally, I thought it was decent. And things like this, it's also like the video game awards where it'll get better over time, but that's a different story for another day. So imagine my surprise when I go online and I see PlayStation E3 cancelled. Now, bear in mind that E3 2018, Microsoft had a fantastic show. The pacing, the way it was done, everything about it was good. But PlayStation's E3, they showed a few games that looked really cool, but it was a bad show. Just the way it was done, it was horrible. But I always saw this one comment online, and it was actually rather interesting. If you don't know what that squeaking is, it's my leather chair. But the interesting comment I was hearing at E3 was, well, they're saving things for PSX. Saving things for PSX. And that's Siri. They're saving things for PSX. But what happened? Well, there was no Paris Games Week, and there was no PSX. So people were just thinking, oh well, they're skipping out on PSX for a change. You know, what exactly is wrong with skipping on one PSX? Well, nothing really. But then they skip E3, so they potentially going to go from E3 2018 to potentially E3 2020. Like potentially. So why did they do this? Well, I think we all know this generation is slowly coming to an end. And what do they do? Do they talk about the same games they've mentioned for the past 3 years? Or do they skip a year and then have a bigger year in 2020, show those games off again that we've seen before, and the new hardware, and see people go crazy over power again? It makes sense, doesn't it? But part of this video is going to be what Microsoft should do, because I've already seen comments of, well, Microsoft doesn't even have to try now. And I think that's a backwards way of thinking about it. They should do the exact opposite. They need to come out of the gate swinging. They need to make this next E3 in June or whenever it is. They have to make it the best show they've ever put on. It has to be perfect in pacing. It has to have the most content and the best content that they've got to deliver. They have to have the biggest announcements. Now, here's another thing. Do Microsoft go early? Because just imagine if they announced the next Xbox a year before PlayStation. Not necessarily that it would come out before PlayStation, but just announced beforehand. Would that do much? I think Microsoft is, over the past year or so, they've built up a really good reputation for how they're going to treat legacy software when it comes to backwards compatibility. If you just saw recently with Final Fantasy 13, like they are doing the work to make sure that our games going forward, they should look really good. And I think another thing people are missing out on is that, this is the first one that Sony is skipping out on. Like, this is actually pretty big for Sony to skip, because in 2015, I think it was 2015. You know, someone said the lineup was sparse, and then it became a meme. But they still did E3. So if 2015 was sparse and they still showed up, ipso facto, next year should be bad when it comes to the lineup. Despite, I think, that zombie game looking pretty cool. I just find it funny because, like, you know, people can say I hate PlayStation all they want, but the thing is, I watch everyone's show other than the PC one because that one's just boring. But I watch all these gaming shows, tech shows, whatever, and thankfully I won't have to stay up till 3 or 4 in the morning watching Sony's presser. But at the same time, it's like it's a shame that they're not doing it because there's going to be the fans that don't get anything, right? You know, you have Nintendo. See, when this is different to when Nintendo pulled out from doing a press conference because Nintendo do directs. Nintendo gives their fans news every month via their direct, and then when it gets to E3, they do another direct, and they do the Treehouse. Microsoft, however, I don't think they could afford to ever skip out on E3 because while they do have Inside Xbox, they don't really do announcements. Not particularly often, like when we get game announcements at them. But the thing about Sony is that outside of PSX, they have E3, but they're not doing PSX either. So it's like, do they have the goods? Do they have the games? Now let's rewind the clock to earlier on yesterday. What if Microsoft cancelled their E3? Would it be courage? Would it be brave? Would it be crazy, but people still are confident in Xbox? No, they wouldn't. We'd already have 1,000 articles online talking about how Microsoft is getting out the gaming industry and all this stuff. Hell, do you know Sony could cancel their PlayStation hardware and people would spin it somehow? Like, I can imagine the headline Sony ends PlayStation hardware, but this is genius. Like, it's just like, uh, maybe to not that extent, but it's like, you, you see years of this stuff, you know, and you just begin to see through the BS. Like, I was seeing comments last night like E3's over then. It's like, just because Sony pull out of E3 does not mean E3 is not happening. We're still going to have Bethesda, EA, Ubisoft. Who else? Oh, well, Nintendo and Microsoft. Or whoever else shows up. I think THQ Nordic has the games now that they could actually do a presser. Hell, I'd watch a THQ presser. I've seen so many people make the whole PlayStation topic not on about why they're pulling out of E3, but why E3 is becoming less relevant. And it's like, really? Would this be the same topic if it was the other way around? We know for a fact it wouldn't be. It's just that I do like how when all this stuff came out, Phil Spencer and Reggie Fils-Aimé came out and said, "Oh yeah, we're doing E3. It's going to be good." Like that kind of thing. It's like these companies can play off each other. Like, and again, I've already seen comments saying that's just them being toxic. So is that worse than the whole handing the discs thing over? Hmm. No. I mean, E3 is the biggest gaming event when it comes to gamers online and when it comes to announcements. Like, Gamescom is the biggest when it comes to amount of people visiting, but the media doesn't pay attention to Gamescom. Like, the last time the media paid attention to Gamescom is when both Sony and PlayStation, so I should say both Microsoft and Sony both had announcements. Other than that, the media don't care. They never bother. And it's very telling how far people will go to defend Sony. And here's the truth. Gamers just want to see announcements. Gamers want news all the time. All the time. And Sony not doing E3 is a big deal. But people are going to act that it's just E3 being less important. People are going to act saying that, well, PlayStation's already got their great games out, so they don't need to show up. Like, you can only spin so far. You can't spin this. You can't. But again, what else does Microsoft do to capitalize on this? Well, they need to expand their E3. I'm saying do the show that they normally do, the presser, do an inside Xbox, do multiple inside Xboxes over 3 days. Because here's the thing about E3 that a lot of people don't really realize or seem to forget that on Sunday when we get Xboxes show, and let's go off like the past one. And then we get Bethesda on the night, or EA, whoever goes first. And then on the Monday night, we get Ubisoft and then Sony. And then on the Tuesday, we get Nintendo. That's normally how it goes, right? But a lot of people don't realize that on the rest of the Tuesday, the Wednesday, the Thursday, and the Friday, we still get E3 news. And hell, a week after E3, we still get announcements from publishers and smaller developers that couldn't afford to go in the first place. Hell, THQ Nordic didn't go last year because they wanted to watch the World Cup. You know, I think people just need to step back and just say, look, Sony not going is a bad idea. That's it. It's embarrassing, some of the comments I've read. And, you know, I've been on forums such as Reset Ever and stuff. Like, those people are going hard to defend. Like, hard. Like, you know that equations gif? That's people trying to work out a new way to spin something. Like, it's so obvious what's happening. And it's pretty cringy, like. But yeah, before I go, I just want to say that, you know, Microsoft has to capitalize on this. Hell, Nintendo has to capitalize on this as well. You know, maybe this could be the year where they have a big presser. I would love to see Nintendo do another presser. But yeah, I'm just going to say that it's disappointing, and more people need to admit how bad this actually is, because it's bad. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Please hit like, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. Share it on Twitter, Facebook, or wherever you may go. I'm out. Hope you have a very good day.